Hi there, it's Gemma here from Fundamental Sports and Fitness, and we're just going through that Chit Chat Thursday. So our topic for today was looking at how to train for an obstacle race. So things like Spartan, Tough Mudder, there is so many others out there at the moment with nuclear, rough events, Zeus, there's so many to go from, and all vary in different styles, but we're looking at the moment, because we're all on lockdown, it's how can we train for them at home. So it's still thinking about what sort of length of race do you want to be doing. Again, lots of different companies have different styles. I personally prefer the shorter races, so looking at your 5Ks, 10Ks, but again, there are those that go up to half marathon distances. So you've got a wide variety to pick from, and depending on what you do will, of course, depend on the type of training you end up doing for them as well. So if you're new to obstacle course racing, just think about that your standard 5K or 10K course is going to take you a lot longer to do than a normal trail run, okay, because you've got to take over all of the obstacles as well. There we go, got our little helper coming in. I think Monty was looking like he was wanting to join, but no, he's disappeared. But yeah, and then have a look at thinking about what type of races you want to be doing. Are they going to be more technical based? So more of the complex rigs like you'd find in Europe at the moment, or are you looking at the traditional UK races, which are much more mud-based, cargo nets, crawls, lifts, carries, focusing on that strength element of the courses and the races. So again, have a look when you're booking your races, what type you feel like you think you'd be doing. Getting a good mix is always quite nice, and you know you're going to challenge yourself as well as you do them. Most of the races I run on my own, but there are plenty that you can run with friends, and it's always nice to have a group or a team of you joining in if you wanted to with it all. So yeah, we'll kind of go through the types of obstacles that you might find on a course, and then I'll incorporate how and the types of training and how to structure your training at home with it all as well. So when you're thinking about your traditional course, you're going to have some climbs in there, whether that's looking at walls, nets, ropes. You're going to have to get some height in there. There's always probably going to be a push or a pull element, so whether that's pulling a sledge or pushing one. You've got breeze blocks coming quite common within Spartan. Again, sledges are Spartan ones. And then you might find your hanging obstacles, so monkey bars, ropes, rings, rigs, anything like that, and that will again vary very much on the height of the high rigs or low rigs as well. And then you'll have that strength element, which will have a carry or a hold in there, and they're usually always quite awkward objects that you're going to be coming across. So barrels, or Spartan have their buckets. You've got the power bags or sandbags, the rec bags they had at the Worlds this year. And then the yokes, so kind of keeping yourself uneven as you're doing it, or certain like farmers carries, so sort of the weight plates or bags held either side of your hands as you're trying to then carry those. So there's quite a variety that you could find on a course, and as I say, a real mix to keep you busy. But again, you've got to look at how you would train for all of those. So what I'll do now is I'll go through the different elements of training that you could do whilst you're at home. Think that an obstacle race, yes, you've got all the obstacles to split up as you're breaking up the course, but running is going to be one of those key factors that you need to be able to do. I like doing obstacle races because of the obstacles. The running element for me, say it's okay, but I much prefer the obstacles, and that's kind of why I do the running, is because I know there's going to be something fun coming up. So you still need to, whilst you're at home, take advantage of that, being able to get out of the house once and try and get for a run. Keep it more as sort of that long steady state style, so you're just maintaining your fitness, keeping everything ticking over. There we go, Monty might be making an appearance again. Okay. You coming to sit down?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Why is that camera there?
Why is the camera there? Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
We're talking about obstacle races. Okay. So we're talking about that you need to then go for a run, okay, or do a big long walk. But as you're at home, think about that. Then those weight training sessions that you're going to be doing, you'll probably find you've then got a little bit more time to train than you normally would do, rather than being at work. But still try and keep a good routine happening as you're doing everything. So if you've got work to be doing during the day, use then that element of exercise as your downtime, and really then be able to focus on that. I know for me that's made a huge difference, and I've actually found I have been able to train and exercise whilst I've been at home rather than at the studio, because
I'm just going to the toilet.
Okay, because I've had more time to be able to train, which has been brilliant. So over the course of your week, still think about splitting up your training. Now, with my guys, I always look at strength and core, the mobility and balance, and usually some power and some hip work. So still think about splitting your week up like that, or changing your training every couple of weeks. So that could involve building that base back up again, so looking at your endurance element to your training, so low weights, high reps within the sessions. Mobility is going to be really keen to focus on at the moment, so looking at your hips and your shoulders, thinking about you're probably not at your usual desk that you've been on, so thinking about your posture, okay, doing a lot of back work and back exercises as you're training is going to make a big difference for you. And I've also introduced more yoga into my sessions, partly because it's that mindset, just being able to chill out, switch off. But it's been one of my goals I set from the beginning of the year, was to look at being able to become a bit more flexible, a bit more mobile. And certainly with one of the apps that I've been doing, I have realised that the ladies on the apps are very bendy and very flexible, and I certainly am not. So you can see them just folding themselves in half, and I look quite awkward trying to get into some of the positions. So that's one of my bits to look at the moment, is that, they say, that yoga and that mobility side. Build on that from your endurance. Look at your strength work that you're doing. Now, you may not have the weights that you'd have used at the gym, so try and have a look at whatever you can get your hands on that is nice and heavy. So when you're looking at your strength work, you're wanting the high weights, low reps, and you can always challenge yourself a little bit more by changing the tempo of what you're doing. So you might think, for example, if you're doing a bicep curl, taking it nice and quick on the way up, but slow and steady on the way down. Okay, so again, another element of control. Or if you were doing a shoulder press, you're from holding here, holding that press position, pressing up, holding it at the top, 3 seconds, and then dropping it back down. Hold for another 3 seconds. Again, another way to challenge the strength within certain muscle groups as you're working on. As I say, that mobility and the balance link hand in hand, so have a look at getting some balance work into your training sessions. Can be as simple as standing on one leg while you're brushing your teeth, or making any dinner. Stand on that single leg. Try and make it a little bit more challenging by closing your eyes as you're doing everything. Always good to warm up with your eyes open first, otherwise I know certainly my guys do find themselves falling over a lot, and see which leg is stronger than the other, and just try and build up your time wise doing that. Hi Tracy, how are you doing? Yeah, so balance is always a good one. If you've got a wobble board, use a wobble board and stand on that and see if you can work out your balance there. Or I suggested to a client yesterday standing on a pillow. Again, that's just adding that element of instability within there. As what else to look at when you're training for an obstacle race? Your grip is going to be key. So if you've got any elastic bands, putting those around your fingers and just trying to open them up and bringing them back in. Again, that's going to be strengthening your wrist extensors and flexors as you're working those. And again, if you've got your trigger point ball, hold it nice and tight and then just gently release. Hold it tight and gently release. That again is another way to look at strengthening your grip if you don't have anything specific within there. I'm trying to think of some other bits that you might have around the house. Towels. So, I mean, I know I've got the kids' climbing frames and swing sets outside. Wrap a towel around it, okay? Grip it with both hands, and again, just see how long you can hold yourself there for. And see if that, again, makes a difference. And you can build that up over the weeks as you're training. Again, one I like for on the kids' climbing frames is, again, that dead hang. So you're trying to hold for as long as possible. And then to progress it, if you wanted to, from that holding position, is just letting go with one hand and bringing and closing it round. So it's just letting go. So it's really quick action, and again that'll build your confidence up as you're then being able to hang, and that will then transition quite nicely when you're wanting to do monkey bars or any rope climbing, because you've got that extra grip there with you. And always a favourite to include within your over your weekly session is then one of those HIIT sessions, so a nice high metabolic workout. Gets your heart rate going up, will help build your cardiovascular fitness, and you'll be able to push yourself as far as you can go. You want to make sure that once you've done a HIIT session, you cannot do any more, so you have pushed your body as far as it can go. So yeah, they're sort of the elements that I'd look at if you're training at home for an obstacle course race. And then have a look at still making sure you've got a good goal going on. So you're splitting your sessions up. So think about either having an upper body or a lower body element to your training, or a push and a pull factor within it. So you then might be thinking of your chest work or your back work. That focus and that key and that goal is always going to help. Otherwise you'll find your training is just going a bit all over the place and not really having any, I say it goes back to having any focus there. So I know at the moment lots of races are being cancelled and postponed, so to actually set a time limit on when you're wanting to reach your peak fitness might be a little bit more challenging. So that's why I'm kind of saying go for that more maintenance side of things at the moment, and then when you do get your race dates through, and it's going to be an action-packed end of the year, you know that you'll be able to increase your training at that point, and still, I say, be able to hit your A races quite nicely. I've been trying to encourage clients to get as inventive as possible. So looking at what they've got around the house or in the garden to be able to use if they've not got the dumbbells, barbells or any specific rigs or weights at home. I know they're quite challenging to get hold of at the moment, as well as everybody's developed and got their own home gyms working at the moment. So in the garden, have a look if you've got any steps or decking, anything like that you could use to move up and down on. As I say, I've been using the kids' swing frame or their climbing frames. Any old tyres or bits that you might be able to use, get on and use those. It's anything that you can make more challenging to your workout, which would help. And for certainly the carries, have a look at the more awkward objects that you might have around your house. Plant pots, see if anything needs moving around. That could also be quite good. But again, that's going to be looking at that grip and how you might hold or carry, and certainly pick things up that would be more challenging as well within a race. Around the house, so water bottles, fill up a rucksack with a load of books. Have that on your back as you're doing your exercises. Again, that's another way to make them a little bit more challenging. For those of you that might have done a bit of hoarding, if you've got any food tins or anything like that, put those into a rucksack. As simple as it sounds, use those for your curls or your presses as well. We had Cheryl this week. She was using some planks of wood for some bicep curls and some presses. So there's loads of things that you could be doing and using around the house if you haven't got any specific gym bits. But again, just try and link all the movements back to what you would find in a race. So we talked about those pushes, pulls, carries, grip work, jumping, crawling. Link all of those movements into your training sessions that you would be doing. And if you're not sure on the type of workouts to be doing, there are hundreds of online training options out there at the moment. You'll have seen that I've been posting workouts on a Monday, a Wednesday and a Friday on our Facebook page and on our Instagram stories. So again, they're nice and structured. You can incorporate those into your training routines and be able to do those. We also have one of our free Facebook groups, the Transform Your Running in 28 Days, that you'll be able to join. That's linked in from our Facebook page, so you can go in and get one of those. Or head across to our website, fundamentalsportsandfitness.co.uk, and we've got our free cross-training plan for the Couch to 5K and the training guide for your marathon. So again, completely free downloads, which have a month's worth of training programs in there. Again, all structured for you to be able to follow. Or if you're looking at something a bit more challenging, and we've got some more video workouts in one of my paid programs. It's just a one-off payment now. I've changed how it's running, but it's 2 years worth of programming. So I think we've got in there about 60 odd training sessions, all followed and structured to help improve your running and your strength work. And again, that's all on my website. So head over there after you've listened and gone on to this, and I'll put the links in the comments section as well. So you've got everything there. But if you've got any questions, guys, fire them over to me, or I say put them within the comments, and I can answer them as the weeks go on, because I know we're not going to be going anywhere for any time soon, so it'd be good to sort of know what it is that you're wanting a bit more information on, and I can plan some of these Chit Chat Thursdays all around you guys and what you're after. I've got a few running ones based coming up, and I've got a lot more of the obstacle course racing ones as well, and since doing the World Certified Coach for obstacle course racing course, I've got loads of information to give you guys as well, and that kind of links nicely into one of the new programs that I'm developing for obstacle course racing. So that'll be coming in the next few weeks, so keep an eye out. Lots of exciting things happening, but as I say, drop me a message, let me know what topics you'd like discussing, and I can develop some of the workshops for you. Speak to you soon, guys. Bye.